Hi there. All right. So I remembered to turn it to the landscape this time. Sorry about last time. And I'm still kind of getting used to the filming. All right. So we're going to start doing the um, chain piecing. So, and I'm not too worried about the colors or anything at this point because I have the color card and I can look at it and make sure. So we know all of these have to come together like this. So you see, kind of, it's a little bit dark. I'll move it this way. It's got that angle there, and you're putting the other angle on top, and you're just matching those two points up like that. Looks kind of awkward and like almost like you're doing a bow tie, but then you're just going to sew straight down this with a quarter. I do scant quarter inch. All right. So I'm going to needle down. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to take this one, put this one on top like this, and just keep sewing. And you can take the next one. That's why I love this chain piecing. Love it, love it. Just getting this done. Last one to do this way. Sew together. And then we are going to, well, yes, we're going to sew the two triangles onto the hexagon, but we're going to iron, not just finger press. Unfortunately, we still have not worked out this iron issue, so I'm going to have to step away for a second. So then you take the hexagon, and this is why it's good when you trim those the points off, because it matches up with those angles, and just like that, if you can see so close, just matches right up with it. And then you can just sew, I'm saying just too much. Sorry about that. This block was really simple though. That's why I liked it. And I got my big old scissors, but where are my snips? I would like my snips. The pattern over there. Another project I'm working on. Here are my snips. I had them over by the ironing board. We're just going to trim them off like this. Okay. Then before I go over to iron, I'm going to go ahead and put that other triangle on the opposite side. So again, we're lining up those tips that we cut off, and it just lines directly up with it. It makes it really nice. And then I think my machine unthreaded, so we're going to fix that real quick. Rethread. I know y'all sometimes does that too, so now you see it in action. All right, back to it. Here we go. All right, there we go. That was your easy piecing. Now this is the time where you need to go iron, and it's important that you iron all of this up. It makes it a little more, it makes it easier to line up some of these points and to get a really crisp flat edge. So go ahead and iron all these open, and then we will start doing that partial seam I told you about. All right, so now I'm going to kind of lay this out again on my board. So I have everything in the right place. I've got the pattern here right beside me on the other side of this board. Start with the hex like this, kind of sideways. You're seeing it a little bit. I know it's a little bit away. Then the B and the C goes here. E and the F, yep, go here. B and C go here, and E and F go here. Now you can kind of see, just move it right here. You can kind of see how this is going to go together. But what we need to do is create our partial seam first. So I'm going to take the middle piece and this EF piece. Move this out of the way. Now when you turn it over, you line the edge up with that end piece right there. Get it all flipped out right. Okay, we're lining it up. Now you are only going to start sewing from about right here, midway to this end. So you're going to start here. You're not going to start at the end here. You're going to start midway. Let me hold it with my left hand. Midway right here and come all the way to the end here. Now, in her instructions, she says to backstitch at this point. I'm not going to. Now you can do it and you can try it. I found that it adds a little bit of bulk, and I know she backstitches so that it doesn't unravel anymore, but I don't mind pulling that string and making it tight before I sew. So I'm going to sew without backstitching at the center point. To me, it makes a little flatter of a seam when we get to the end. All right, so you just start and you sew. Now, it is important to actually iron every step this time. Normally I'll just finger press and move on, but for this, you definitely, for that, get it really, really flat, you're going to want to iron. You're going to iron this partial seam open. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, so I've got it ironed open. This is your partial seam, right? Because you've got a seam like that. It's not all the way. So what we're going to do is flip this over, and we're going to take the, I want to say the B and C, and line it up with this edge. You're going to line this corner and you're going to line this corner. Now you also have a seam that matches, and it does that cross kind of match. So you want to make sure that that's kind of in the right place. You might want to pin if you're nervous about it. I'm not going to pin. I don't, if the seam is off, it will be so slight, and both other edges are matching up, and that's more important to me. Now, in saying that, I did hold that seam in that place. Okay. All right, your first side is done. Let's go to, I'm going to dim my light so it's not so glaring at y'all. Sorry about that. I'm going to iron this seam open. Okay. All right, let's see how that seam matched up. And it's a little bit off. That seam is a little bit off, but I am not going to be bothered by it because it matched up very nice and even on the edges, and to me, that's a little more important. All right, and once you get this quilted and bunched up, you're not going to tell. So now we're going around, so now we take this E and F, and we flip it. So now I'm going to turn this around so we can sew, matching up the two ends and the seam right here. This is a seam that lays flat against each other. So I'm going to hold that one nice and tight and start sewing this across. And I haven't forgot about that other partial seam. We do that one last if you're unfamiliar with partial seams. All right. One more to sew on and we are almost done. This is a quick one. This is a real quick one. I don't like those stringy pieces. All right, let's iron this up open. All right. That seam is just a slight askew, and I'm okay with it. I really am. I know that a lot of people would redo it, but I like how flat it is, and it's so small that I'm not going to worry about it. But you do you. Again, if you want it perfect, you make it perfect. All right. So on this one, I want to make sure that's the way we're going. That's the way we're going. You are going to line up from end to end. And I know that's flopping loose right there. That's okay. That's okay. End to end. And let's make sure kind of, I mean, it's not that I don't try to get a good seam. Just if I don't stress about it. It's not like it's a ½ inch off. It's less than 1/8 of an inch. So I'm not going to worry about it. All right. I did pin it this time. Giving it a try. Giving it that college try. All right. Sewing. Make sure we're all lined up. And, all right. Put my stiletto in there, not my fingers. All right. Let's iron this open, and then we're going to see the magic of a partial seam. I love partial seams. I can do them all day long. See, floppy, floppy, but look at that. Look at that. Now it lays perfectly with it. So now when you turn this over, you're going to line this seam up right here. You're going to look and make sure that kind of lines up. Then you're going to sew. Can you see right here? I'll restack it. You see right here where I've sewn that partial seam right there? Okay. I'm going to sew just past that. And for this time, I'm going to do a back stitch. Last time I just think the double back stitch made it a little too thick and kind of puckered a little bit. All right, so now that it's all lined up, you just sew, and we're going to kind of make sure, see, we get lined up a little bit. All right, I'm still matching two seams up. All right, I'm just now getting to where it is sewn, and I'm going to tighten it just a little bit, but you know what? It did not come undone at all for me. So it had kind of, and then I'm just going to take it, and that is it. Now we sew the seam open. I'm going to trim away any of these little extra threads to reduce that bulk. Oops. All right, then I'm going to iron it out and show you what it looks like. All right, there you are. There is the block, and I am much happier with this seam than with my last one. You can hardly even tell that you put it together. So that is a partial seam, and that is your easy sewing month. Join me next week when I talk about a couple of tips that I have for you on this. And until then, have a great week and happy sewing.